Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to McKola TV. This is the Weekly United after what has been an absolutely busy week for Manchester United. It always is, but with the transfer window coming to a close and, of course, football being back as well. Manchester United getting 3 wins in the last week. 2 of those coming over Brighton with an aggregate score of, 6-2? 3 points in the Premier League. Obviously, our goals that were conceded in the Premier League not looking good at the moment. 5 goals conceded already, but a much improved performance from a much changed Manchester United side in the Carabao Cup against Brighton. And in this video, we'll be going over the last week, looking at all the news in relation to Jadon, Sancho, Chris Smalling, Andreas Pereira, transfers in, transfers out, the England call-ups as well. Loads of players have been called up for international duty, but Mason Greenwood hasn't, and we'll be looking at Gareth Southgate's quote in relation to that, as well as discovering who Manchester United's Champions League opponents are in the group stages of the biggest competition in club football. We can't wait to be back in Champions League action. Shame we're probably not going to be there for some of the first games, maybe not any of it, but definitely for some of the first games. But nevertheless, great to be back in it for Manchester United fans. Anyway, before we go on with the show, make sure you subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing and all that good stuff, keeping it locked. Join as well if you can. Of course, United Daily Live is on every single day at 10:30 p.m. So make sure you're joining us for that. And when there's breaking news, we'll be live too. So first up this week, we hear that Mason Greenwood has been dropped from England duty. We heard of call-ups for Harry Maguire, Dean Henderson, Marcus Rashford to England. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes for Portugal, Anthony Martial and Paul Pogba for France. Obviously, Martial was called up to the last game, or the last games rather, but Paul Pogba was left out due to the coronavirus. And I actually don't mind these players going away for international duty because it gives them a chance to build their fitness up, providing there isn't any further injuries. Mason Greenwood won't be on international duty. And Gareth Southgate hasn't picked Phil Foden either. And he commented saying that it was time for a period of reflection for these players and that they had to learn a lesson. Now, I don't think what they did was that bad in the first place. And whilst I believe Harry Maguire should be in the squad and United fans should stand by him, what Harry Maguire was involved in was substantially worse than what they were involved in. Yet he's in the squad. So I don't know how you can try and teach 2 of them a lesson and not one of them, especially one of the more experienced players. And these are boys that are playing for Man United and Man City, 2 of the best teams in the league, or 2 of the biggest teams in the league as well. So I don't get why he's still not selected. It's just daft to me. I'm glad Mason Greenwood's not going. I'd rather he, just play for Man United, focus on United or whatever. But he has aspirations of playing for England. He wants to play for England. And I just find it weird that Southgate's still punishing him over this. It wasn't the worst thing in the world for him to get caught up in. And he's apologised. He's got on with it. He's playing for United, scoring for United. What's the point in all this? Obviously, the Jadon Sancho stuff is still going on, and I'm sure this will probably still be going on right up until the 5th of October, unfortunately, for Manchester United fans. But we hear that Jadon Sancho now wants this move. We heard he was pulled out of the last Borussia Dortmund game through a respiratory illness, not coronavirus, something random, something else. And now we're hearing Jadon Sancho actually wants this move. He wants to force this move and he's pushing for a transfer. Borussia Dortmund will sell it if they get 120 million euros. We already know that. And Fabrizio Romano has pretty much reiterated the same thing as well. Jadon Sancho, he's agreed terms with Manchester United. He wants to join Manchester United. He hasn't made a transfer request yet. Now, I hope we're starting to see some movement from his end in terms of trying to push this deal, especially after United had their bid knockback this week, according to some reports. So it's good to see some movement, however late it is into the transfer window. I've still got hopes of us signing Jadon Sancho. I would love for us to sign him. And obviously there's been talk about alternatives in Ousmane Dembele as well, which is an interesting prospect. A couple of years ago, Man United fans would have snapped your hands off for Ousmane Dembele in a Man United shirt. Obviously, after a couple of years at Barcelona, plenty of injuries as well, and I think that's the main concern. There's a player in there somewhere, a fantastically talented player, and not everybody will succeed at Barcelona under that pressure and with the way they've chopped and changed managers, but his injuries are clearly an issue. And if we were to get him on the last day of the window on loan, I genuinely wouldn't complain if we hadn't signed Jadon Sancho. If we were going to get involved in a 60-70 million pound deal, I'd probably swerve that one, to be totally honest with you. It could be a disaster. But I'm hoping this could be United as well. If we're hearing United are pushing for Dembele, Dembele doesn't really want to leave Barcelona, but United are pushing for him. Even though in the past we've heard United don't really want to push for players, don't want to join the club. Maybe United are doing this in order to put some pressure on Jadon Sancho. And maybe as a result of that pressure, we're now hearing Jadon Sancho is telling those at Dortmund he wants to leave the club. Or is that just me being an optimist? Get your thoughts in the comments below. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, Bruno Fernandes did a great article with the Players Tribune. There's been loads of great articles on there, and it's obviously, I'm not sure whether he tells a story to someone and then they write it out, or he's written it out himself, but nevertheless, it's stories from Bruno Fernandes, and he talks about his first, kind of knowledge of Manchester United and all that kind of stuff, and how he was a fan growing up. His brother, like Barcelona, like Messi, Bruno Fernandes, like Ronaldo, like Manchester United, and he talks about getting a tracksuit top and that. And I know players always say their dream is to join Manchester United and all that, but I genuinely didn't know there was this deeper connection to Manchester United from Bruno Fernandes. It's good to hear, isn't it? And just on the topic of Bruno Fernandes, I think he's been fantastic around the club. When you hear him in interviews and in press conferences and things like that, he's always taking snide digs at people, having little digs at critics and stuff like that. And he says in this article as well that criticism pushes him on. That was one of the things that his father did, constantly criticising his game to force him to look to aspects to improve, rather than just having yes men around him who are constantly telling him the things that he wants to hear. He was being pushed by those around him, and he's a great character. He's got a great mentality, and I think he's the perfect person to have around this Manchester United team. And you've got younger players that are just, coming onto the cusp of maybe greatness. You never know, Martial, Rashford, they can be great players, but they need to do it week in, week out at the top level. We've seen glimpses of that last season. They had very good seasons, but maybe having the likes of Bruno, Pogba, even Juan Mata, we've seen his influence in the recent weeks with the win over Brighton, getting 2 Man of the Match awards in the Carabao Cup. Having those kind of players around them can only be good for them, and Bruno's been a great addition to the squad. Of course, back to the transfer news, and Ornstein's updating on Chris Smalling, saying that Roma are closing in on the permanent signing. So although we've heard reports of potentially Inter Milan getting him, other clubs potentially being in for him, it looks like we're getting closer to Roma getting him as they edge closer to the asking price for United. I don't think we'll get the full 20 mil that we want, but I think we'll get close to that. Left back process is ongoing. That's obviously Alex Telles. Looks like that one could go down to the last couple of days, but quietly confident it will see us with Alex Telles as a Manchester United player. If we bid 12 million, they want 18 million, surely we'll meet them somewhere in the middle. They're not going to want to lose him on a free next summer. So that's the updates we've got on Chris Smalling. And we're also hearing Diogo Dalot could be involved in that deal to AS Roma as well. He played for United against Brighton. I don't think he did too badly. He wasn't amazing, didn't do too badly. It's obviously his first game in a while. And he's been linked with a move to AC Milan, AS Roma. And it's believed, as part of Roma offering more money for Chris Smalling, they want Diogo Dalot in that deal on loan. United have rejected a couple of loan bids. They want a permanent transfer if anybody is going to take Diogo Dalot. So that one could go on into the latter stage of the transfer window too. But maybe Roma are saying, we'll give you the full asking price. You give us Diogo Dalot on loan as well. And United might be up for that. And of course, Andreas Pereira is on his way to Lazio. A season-long loan, option to buy for 27 million euros, which if Lazio end up taking up, is a great fee for Manchester United to get for him. But now, obviously, we're heading into that stage where this one's just a matter of being complete and him being posing with the shirt. By the time you watch this, he's probably already posed with the shirt. But yeah, Andreas Pereira, good luck to him. He's obviously a talented player. He hasn't really delivered for Manchester United. I think he's got the ability, it's just the decision making, the mentality, maybe even a little bit of luck as well. He hasn't had that, but it'd be good to him to see him go away, do well elsewhere, and tear it up, and United get a decent transfer fee for him. Good luck to Andreas Pereira. So the Champions League group stage draw has been made as well, the moment we've all been waiting for, the return of Champions League football to Old Trafford. Hopefully we've got some fans in for some of these games and some potential decent away trips as well. And we've got what looks like the group of death: Paris Saint Germain, RB Leipzig and Istanbul Basaksehir. You get Paris Saint Germain out of the pot A, you get RB Leipzig out of pot C, and Istanbul, one of the more tricky ties out of Pot D. Now, there were decent teams in all of those pots, we know that, but Manchester United have got what looks like one of the most difficult groups. And when you look at Paris Saint Germain, we have memories of that day Oli was at the wheel, Marcus Rashford put us through to the next round of the Champions League. Of course we have those memories, but also we have Ander Herrera, Angel Di Maria, the return of two former Manchester United players, one that's loved, one that's hated by Manchester United fans. We also have the mercurial talents of Mbappe and Neymar rocking up to Old Trafford as well and taking on our front three of Mason Greenwood, Rashford and Anthony Martial. Will Jadon Sancho be joining them? Could you imagine that? But Thomas Tuchel is also a tricky customer for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be navigating. Now all the memories, all the videos are all going to be coming out from that night in Paris, but it's a difficult game. RB Leipzig, Upamecano, Forsberg, Poulsen, and of course their manager Nagelsmann. Another tricky task for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to test himself tactically. Now, I think this is a game that we should be winning. Obviously, they've lost some key players. The likes of Timo Werner have left the club, but they're a team that will always play good football. They'll be strong at home. They'll come to your home ground on the road, and they'll look to cause you problems on the counter-attack as well. They'll be well drilled, well set up tactically. It's going to be a difficult battle, and RB Leipzig's one of those games as well. And then we have Istanbul Basaksehir, and this tie makes, obviously, a trip to Turkey is never easy. But when Rafael da Silva is returning to Old Trafford potentially in the bargain, I think you can accept that one. Obviously, there's other familiar faces like Skirtle, Chadley and Demba Ba, but getting the opportunity to say hello and say goodbye maybe to Rafael da Silva, if we are in the stadium, of course, because we never know when these fixtures are, where they fall in, do they come in before the trials have been taken, are things sorted? Obviously, by November, December, probably not. We're not going to have 70,000 in the ground, but we could have 12, 13, 14,000 maybe in the ground, and that would be great to get to see Rafael da Silva. It's a shame, some of these group stage ties may be ruined by the fact there will be no fans in attendance, but what a group we have ahead of us. What a return to Champions League football we have as well. And look, I'm quietly confident we will manage to get ourselves through this group. It's going to be difficult. PSG, obviously a difficult tie. We have good memories of that one, and we went there with a weaker squad. When you look at it, I know they were missing Neymar. RB Leipzig, obviously missing some of their key players of last year's Champions League run, and obviously I think we should be looking to beat them at home, away from home. I'd be disappointed if we lost there, although they're a very good side. Should be looking to get 6 points. Istanbul the same. So if we can't get 10 to 12 points out of this group, then we've got problems. But I'm feeling quite confident that the boys will rise up to the occasion. And when you look at some of those players in our team, Donny van der Beek's got positive memories of the Champions League with Ajax. He'll be enjoying European nights. You've got Bruno Pogba, who will thrive off the expectation the Champions League brings. Rashford, Greenwood, Martial up top. Maybe Jadon Sancho. I think it's going to be I'm looking forward to the Champions League. This draw hasn't deterred me from that, even though it may be the group of death. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments below on the Champions League group stage draw. And of course, let us know your thoughts on everything else we discussed. For now though, I've been Adam McKola. You lot have been legends. This has been the Weekly United, and I'm out of here.